All right. I'm just gonna do a quick live stream today. It's a little bit more fun than just doing a video recording, and just kind of talk about just some thoughts I wanted to share, some videos and stuff I watched that I think is probably good for people to, if you haven't checked these things out, take a look around. Because like if you're, especially like if you're nearing retirement or in retirement, it's going to be very probably unsettling. And regardless of, even if you're a ways away from that, nobody likes to see their portfolio take a dump. And it's like, that's what we've got going on here. It's not fun for a lot of people. And I thought I would just share some things. This is so Valuetainment has a great channel. This is Patrick, and he put out a video, I think last night. I saw it this morning. Some great things to say. So even though the market does go down, like sometimes severely, we get a correction. It's bound to come back unless we live in a wacko world. Unless Armageddon comes, it's probably going to come back. Let me just listen to him say a few things here.
On how the market perform. And it shows, the collapse and all this other stuff, nasty. Out of 10 pandemics that we've had, 9 of them, whatever the drop was that was drastic, within 6 months, it recovers and goes above and beyond. The only one that it didn't recover for 18 months was the AIDS pandemic that we had. So what's the point here? When the market tanked, and it went to like 18,000 down, I don't know what it was, but some number like that, one of my good friends was so afraid of where the market was going to be going that he took 100% of his money out of his investments. We're talking 10 million goes down to 5 million. He takes the whole thing out. 3 months after he takes the whole thing out, everything goes back to normal price that it was before and beyond. But he lost $5 million. So what's the moral?
So this is like, if you don't need the cash right away, right? If you don't need the cash right away, it's just a paper loss in your portfolio, your native crypto portfolio, your 401k, IRA, brokerage account, right? It's a paper loss. It's still tough to stomach if you got cash on the sidelines and you want to get in. Hey Debbie, this is me. That's not me playing in the video. That's Patrick from Valuetainment. But yeah, it's like it's a good time to get in. So I'm actually going into some native crypto. I've been DCAing into a couple cryptos over the past couple weeks because I don't know when the lows are in. I never do. Nobody does, and so I look at DCAing as being the best bet. And on days when it's down significantly, I put in more than I normally would. But that's just kind of how I do it. I'll talk about some things I'm getting into. But I just want to talk about, in general too, one of the good things, one of the channels I subscribe to is a channel, this guy, his name is Dwayne. His channel is called Retire Early 500K. He retired a couple years ago. He had $500,000 in his accounts. And he's been sharing his portfolio and journey along the way. He's got a lot of good things to say. Some things I don't agree with him on, like he's anti-crypto. And I think crypto is a great way to increase your wealth. But yeah, Debbie, how do I see and talk to you? Well, you can, I didn't enable Discord voice chat. I suppose I could. Let me just do that here. I got to pop this out. Don't switch. Let me see if I can pop this out. And we'll do a voice chat if we can. Move tab to another window, new window. Let me just do this. And so we can say some things here. I'll join that in a little bit. I just wanted to, and we'll just see what we can do here. I will pop into the voice channel really quick. Voice channel. So if you want to speak, that you need to join Discord. And the link to Discord will be on my other videos that's posted there. It's not in here. But you'd have to join the general open discussion right there. And actually, you can't do this. I need to, hold on a second. Give me a second. Let me present this. Share screen. I'm going to do the entire screen. Okay. All right. So you need to join Discord right here, and then go to the general open discussion, and then you could speak if you wanted to, if you actually want to talk here on the channel. But otherwise, I'll just keep rocking here and just go through a couple things. So Retire Early, Dwayne's got a channel Retire early 500K, got some good things to say. One thing that he said in the past, when I watch videos that he's been doing, is it's a good idea. I've heard other people say this too, like, especially if you're nearing retirement or you're in retirement especially, but you know, as you're nearing it, it's a good idea when we have good years. And obviously, like, you know, a lot of people are probably wishing they did this a week ago or more. But when we have good years, good times, is to sell some of your bonds, stocks, whatever that you have, and sit in cash and have at least 1 year's worth of expenses in cash. Other people recommend it. This is probably what I would do, is probably try to have 3 years worth of expenses in cash. This assumes that your investments can do that, right? That you have enough investments to support that. That's kind of the ideal. Because think about this, like if you had 3 years worth of cash, even a year's worth of cash sitting in your bank account, right? That provides you a lot of comfort. Like the people that get hit the worst are the people that are having to live off of monthly earnings, you know, whether it's dividends or they're selling off shares every single month to support their lifestyle, to pay the bills, right? Those are the people that get hit the worst because they left it all in assets that are currently depreciating, and they're having to sell at a loss, at least a loss compared to what it was a month ago. It may not be a loss in terms of like the cost basis when they got in, but this is like one of the benefits. Like if you can get there, and a lot of people can't, because like retirement, like the median balances for like IRAs and shit, it's really low. It's really low. So I'm hoping I can help people in crypto, especially improve that. But if you can get to that point where you've got enough where you potentially take off like a year's worth of expenses out of whatever you've got, crypto, stocks, index funds, etc., then you've got that. Because this stuff is going to happen. It's not like this is like a one-time event. This is going to happen. I know that this has been coming. I see this as being potentially like beneficial for us in a way, because I mean, people are blaming the tariffs, right, for this. The tariffs probably like they were the spark that ignited things. They were the straw that broke the camel's back. But we were due for a correction. In my opinion, we were just due for a correction. So it's like, and I talked about this like last night too in the live stream. I mean, I'm not a TA guy, right? I'm just like I could take a ruler and go, well, this is what a normal, you know, path would be without the peaks. If I were to draw a straight line, it's like this should be normal. We're getting back to what should be probably normal. Like this, so people view this as a crash, but it's just a correction. And just because tariffs might get resolved, doesn't mean that things are going to necessarily go back to where they were very quickly. But like Patrick said in his video, like when he looked at crashes, pandemic, stuff like that usually took a couple months, he recovered and then went beyond that. So we could see that. So if you look at this and it's like, let's say the crypto bull run takes off soon, hopefully soon. I mean, we're all hoping for this thing, right? And let's say the market as a whole is still down, like significantly. That would give us the opportunity, assuming we have a really good bull run, cash out. Now you can buy stocks, index funds, etc., at a discount compared to what you would have had to pay for them prior to a correction. So I don't know, it's it is what it is. I see it as a good opportunity, like if you have cash to get into whatever you want, because everything's pretty much crashing. I do worry about people. I did a video on this, just a few days ago, like margin. And Tactical Stock Scalper did a video on this like a week or two ago. He expressed concern about people being over leveraged in margin, and when downturns come, they could get liquidated. I think that's what happened to Kamara, actually. Some people are saying, Kamara apparently was saying that, the reason he disabled or got rid of his videos, stopped doing YouTube, is because his commanding officer said that things were getting too political. And I think that's BS. I think it's a complete BS story. I'll be honest. I think, and other people think too, that Kamara got liquidated. I think that's what happened. And he was sharing his journey. I got to give him kudos for that, sharing his portfolio like every single day. I think he probably got liquidated in whole or in part. And that was probably just too much of an embarrassment for him to want to come back and show it again. I think he just got to the point where he's like, screw this. I think that's what happened because from what I understand, what other people know too, Khmer, whose name is actually Murata Phillips, he's actually retired from the Marine Corps. He's been retired for a while. And I think that he's actually back. I was watching another investing channel with, and one of the guys on there was retired Marine Corps. And he said, yeah, Khmer's retired. So it feels a little dishonest that says he's still in the military, but he is kind of. I think my understanding is Khmer is probably like a contractor or consultant or something, whatever the terminology is for when they bring back ex-military to help teach, train, do stuff like that. So, but when you're out of active military duty, you do not need to abide by the same code of conduct that you do when you're on active duty. So, I think that whole line about, well, my CO said things were getting too political. I think that's BS. He didn't really talk about politics on YouTube. He didn't. Even if things were getting weird on his Discord, the thing is, like, who cares? It's private. It's not public. Discord is private. It's not like he's voicing his he's not voicing anti-Trump sentiment publicly on YouTube, and that could potentially get him in trouble in the military or even as a contractor. But I think he got liquidated or a bad tax bill or something, because we're at tax season 2, and yeah, he was paying his taxes, but he said he was on a payment plan with the IRS, and if you're on a payment plan with the IRS, man, that means that you haven't been paying taxes like you should. So it is what it is. I hope he recovers. I hope he does okay. I hope we see him back here because he did a really good job of running live streams, building a community. I like what he did, and that's kind of what I want to do with this, is like we can have the Discord chat if people want to chime in. So feel free. Nobody's there right now in Discord, but if you do join Discord, you can get in there and we can just have a discussion about stuff. I just want to talk about briefly. Yeah, Bella said he never really talked about politics. I know, and actually, he came out. I was actually still on his Discord. I hadn't been kicked off yet. He even on Discord, he's like, we are not going to talk about politics on Discord. He was very. I think he's conservative based on some of the comments. It's hard to tell. It doesn't really matter. But he was very clear on Discord and on his live stream, because I heard him say this too, like, we're not going to talk about politics on this channel. He was very clear about that. And, on Discord too, I remember seeing him message that. So I am not buying that story. I think it's a cover story. I think he's just, it's a story, like he's embarrassed, he doesn't know what to say, so he came up with that. I get it. But I think that's hey, Rodrigo, good to see you, my friend. Wow. Good to see you. I hope things are good down in Brazil. All right, so here's some of the things I'm getting into. I've been getting into a couple cryptos, native cryptos. I've stopped buying Grayscale several months ago, almost a year ago. But and here's some things I'm getting into. I'm getting into Cookie. Good morning, Juan. I'm getting into Cookie DAO. So Cookie DAO it's an AI token. And it's down significantly from where it was. Like this, launched last summer in June. It's we could call it the bear market lows were around 2 cents, 2.5 cents. It pumped up, almost did like a 25x or so to 60 cents at the beginning of the year. This coincided with it being listed on Coinbase. So I think this is the Coinbase pump. A lot of cryptos, when they first get listed on Coinbase, or they're about to, they'll pump and then they'll dump, and that's kind of what's happened. So we're in the dump phase, and it's just exacerbated by current market conditions. So Cookie is one of the cryptos that Cesar talks about in his channel, and I actually found out about Cookie because of his videos, and I was like, okay, well, I think AI cryptos, AI tokens are going to do pretty well this cycle. So Cookie is one of the things I'm getting into. Also, I'm going into Stellar. I think Stellar's pretty good. Stellar's a mid cap, so it's sort of like Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. It should be an earlier mover than other cryptos. So, the price predictions we have for Stellar, I mean, it was sitting for a long time around 9-10 cents in the bear market. And then in very short order, this is what can happen in crypto. So this is a good example, people, of what can happen, right? So it's like, we're like, oh my God, everything went down by 10, 20, 30%. Is that in a very short period of time, Stellar did almost a 6x. So we're looking at here, November 6th, it was just under 10 cents. November 6th. By November 24th, so 2 weeks later, within a 2-week time span, it had done almost a 6x, like a 5.5x. So things can happen very violently and very quickly in crypto. And this is like people will say crypto's dead, the trusts are dead, the premiums are dead, it's never coming back, all that bullshit. They can say that and then they're right until they're wrong. And when they're wrong is when we make money. The people who are patient, the people who hang on, that's when we make money, right? And that's when we start to cash out. And this for Stellar was a very nice move, but I don't think it's anywhere near what we're going to see for Stellar in the bull run. Estimates for what Stellar can do range from on the super conservative side, probably hitting $2, which is just under a 10x from here. I'd be happy with that. I'd be stupendously happy with a 10x out of Stellar. It can probably even do $5 to $10. Even some people are thinking higher. So I don't know where it's going to go. Nobody knows, obviously, with anything. But even at 10x, I'd be stupendously happy with Stellar. And I would then have the option, if it ran before a lot of the other altcoins, I could take some of the profits or all the profits from Stellar and rotate to other cryptos that I like, that I think are solid, and that haven't run yet. I talk about rotation a lot. There's a lot more options for rotation in native cryptocurrency. And I plan to do that. Just rotate through the different good cryptos, because last cycle, 2020, 2021, I did a quick analysis like of the cryptos that I was in, and when they popped off, and the short term returns that they provided, within a pretty short order. If I were to like take a quick profit, bail, and go into something else, and that enough of them popped off at different times where there's a lot of opportunity there. So like in my native crypto portfolio, I'm probably in like, I don't know, maybe 3 dozen or so native cryptos, and in the 3 dozen there, they probably had like 6 to 8 specific launch times that they were split between. So if I'm in, let's say I'm in like 3 dozen or so, and like 6 of them launch basically at the same time, I can choose to take profit from those 6 cryptos that I'm in and put that profit into other cryptos that I'm in that have not pumped yet, and then just repeat the process and try to maximize my native crypto portfolio profits through the cycle, because the cycle could, some cryptos run really early, some cryptos run really late. And you can exploit that. You have fewer options in a brokerage account because we don't have that many Grayscale trusts. Some of the Grayscale trusts are really small, so you can't put a ton of money in there without getting locked in or just wrecking yourself. We do have the Bitcoin miners that I've talked about before, and those are options like to rotate through. But I'll be talking about the stuff that I'm doing for rotation if you want to follow along. But it's risky. There are risks with rotation. Like, if I rotate out of one thing into another, I might be making a wrong move, because the thing that I'm rotating out of could moon in a big way the next day. That's probably what's going to happen. And I might have been able to wait longer before I cashed out to move into the next thing. But I don't know. Nobody ever knows, right? So it's this guessing game. And I'm just looking at it from like a purely a math perspective. I used to care about what people thought individual cryptos could do, like what kind of return they could get in the bull market. I used to be like, okay, well, I want to get into this thing. This thing has 50x potential or 100x potential. And now, you know what? Now I really don't care, because I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm not looking at like the return that you can get, because I think any crypto that I get into that's solid and not completely speculative can easily get a 3x. Like that's like not even an issue. So I look at it and I go, okay, just using math, it's like, what I'm looking to do is to exploit the different launch times for different cryptos. So I don't care if I'm in Holochain or Telcoin or Dent or Stellar or Toshi or Cookie or whatever. I don't care what kind of returns they get. I'm probably not going to stick around to see their highs. I'm probably just going to bail after I get like a 5x. Or especially if I get a 10x. At a 5x, I'm starting to sell off some of my shares. Probably at a 10x, I'm going to sell off what remains of a given crypto, so long as I have other cryptos, or there are other cryptos that I can get into that I think are solid that have not popped yet. And that's what I'm going to do. Just pop around. So, so that's pretty much it. Anyway, Sakib says, yeah, good morning. I'm buying crypto. Yep. It's like, that's what I'm doing today too. So, and it's like, it's a good time to do it. Tomorrow might even be a better time. We don't know like how long this can last, how far it will go. None of us knows. With anything, if you're trying to buy stocks or index funds too, we don't know. We only have that with hindsight. But as long as things are going down, this is where, they say like it's who came up with it? It was Rothschild or somebody like be greedy when others are fearful. And this is like most people panic when their portfolio is down. But if you have cash on the sidelines and you see it as an opportunity to get in at a discount compared to what it was, that's when you can make more money. Because let's just say an asset that you're in or that you want to get into drops in value by 50%, from where it was a week ago. People who are in that asset who don't have liquidity, like who have no cash on the side, they're having to rely on that asset for like their retirement, for example. They're like freaking out. It's down 50%. Versus somebody who's got some cash on the side and is like, that thing is on sale at 50%. It's really, human psychology is really interesting. So a lot of people freak out when the market falls, right? But if you're in the market for like a new big screen TV, right, or a new automobile, or a new house, and the house you're looking at that you want drops in price by 30% or 50%, are you afraid? Are you worried? Are you concerned? Or are you super excited that now's a great time to buy that house? If the vehicle that you want is down in price by 30%. What do they say? They don't say, like, you don't go to the car lot and see signs like the sky is falling. They say huge sale, clearance sale, like things are cheaper, right? So this is why it's good to always have some cash. If you can, it's like sell some stuff. In my opinion, not financial advice, but it's a good idea. It's a good strategy to sell some stuff when times are good, right? So that you have cash on the sidelines to pay your bills, survive. Like if you need that, if you don't have a job, if you're retired, you got some cash, you got a cash buffer, and it's an opportunity buffer, right? It's your opportunity fund when things like this come along. And honestly, things like this don't come along very often in the general market. Sometimes you have to wait quite a while. I mean, we had a downturn into 21, right? Into 2022, but it's like, like this, like COVID, the COVID crash didn't capture that. You can only see it here. We went from like 330 down to 248, so that's like 60. That's like about a 20% drop for during the COVID crash, right? And people, I remember too, like Bitcoin and crypto, but especially Bitcoin because it was getting the news. It dropped significantly for a very short period of time, and so people who had cash on the sidelines, who saw the opportunity, were able to get in there. Let me just go back and let's see what Bitcoin did during the COVID crash. Because I think it dropped significantly. So where are we? Right here. COVID. Where was that? I felt like it had a pretty big drop in Bitcoin. Like you had an opportunity to get in, and it was right. I think it was right here. So it dropped. Maybe that was the COVID dump right here. I remember I was traveling and I was seeing on the news, like was watching CNN or whatever, and I just remember the newscasters just being freaked out as to what was happening in the market. They were talking about stuff. So MJ says, I think it was Warren Buffett that made that famous statement: "Be greedy when others are fearful." It could be Warren. It could be. I don't want to, misappropriate that to Rothschild. I don't think it was. I think you're right. I think it was Warren Buffett. But yeah, that's where it is so crazy. If you think about it, like Warren Buffett, if you know his story, like everybody basically starts from zero, right? We get to different places based on our actions and our mindset, but our mindset drives our actions. Warren Buffett started making money by like picking up used cigar butts and then reselling them for probably just a penny or pennies, right? That's how he started making money. He was flipping, right? I mean, talk about having come from very little. Like that's how he started to make money, and then he just started to from there, you know, accumulate some cash. It wasn't a whole lot, but when he was younger, he started to buy stocks, and he learned about investing from that. But it's like it's crazy to think that he's like some mega billionaire now who got started like selling used cigar butts. It's crazy. All right, I don't have a whole lot to say. I think obviously if you've still got cash and if you've got cash on the sidelines, right, to get in, I think it's a good place to get in. I mean, if you're looking at getting into Bitcoin, for example, I think it's a pretty decent place to get in because with the estimates for Bitcoin, even the lower ones that are out there are significantly higher, like almost twice what we are right now. So you could probably pull a 2x. And some of them are even higher. Who knows what a Bitcoin is going to hit? I don't really have much Bitcoin because you can generally make a lot more money in altcoins than in comparison to Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin, it's against the laws of monetary physics for Bitcoin to do a 50x this cycle. It's not going to happen. If it does, we are in Armageddon, financial Armageddon, and money probably won't mean anything. But it's probably not going to do a 50x this cycle. Because that would put it at like 1.5 million per Bitcoin. Because I think the bear market low is around 30 grand. Or no, 16. So in order to do a 50x, we'd have to get like 900,000 per Bitcoin. I think we could probably do that next cycle. I don't think this cycle. I think if we hit almost a million this cycle, something is broken in the system. Not that things aren't broken in the system, but not this badly. All right, that's it for now. I'm gonna let you guys go. I wish you guys the best of luck. Market's gonna open here in just a couple minutes. We're like 12 minutes away from seeing the carnage that is our Grayscale holdings. So if you got spare cash on the side and you want to buy more, it's probably a good day to do that. If you don't have cash or aren't going to buy more, then you might not want to look at your portfolio today. So I will probably peek at my portfolio, but I'm just concentrating on native crypto because I think there are just deals to be had right now. Like I said, one of the big ones I'm going into is Cookie, and the other one is Stellar. I also have some in Toshi. Toshi's a meme coin, so I'm not putting a lot into it, but it is, I'm like, well, I've got a couple memes, like I've got Shiba, I've got some Doge, I've got some Floki, some Dogelon, Mars, and some Toshi. I don't have too many, and I don't put a large percentage of my native crypto into new meme coins, because I did last cycle. I bought some highly speculative ones, like a lot of the Inu coins that were doing really well, and then they did well, and I didn't cash out, and then they crashed absolutely hard, like almost went to zero. Some actually did go to zero. So for like the meme coins that are out there that I invest in, like I have pretty good faith in like things like Shiba and Doge. Like they're going to be around. They're not fly-by-night cryptos. Like they may not do as well as they did in previous cycles, but they should do well. Toshi, I think, is fairly reliable. So is Floki. I'm in that too. I think that'll do pretty well. Let's just bring up Floki and see what it's looking like. I haven't added to my position in Floki, but Floki is something I'm looking at. So this is like, so this was the last cycle back here. Floki did a pretty nice return. We were at 505. Yeah, it did really nice. It did like 100x returns last cycle. And again, like off the bear market lows, we did pretty good. Yeah, so we were from, what was that, 402. Yeah, it did like a 5x, 10x in this pump here. So we're going to see where it goes. Floki's another one that I'm in. But I have more Shiba than I have Floki. And I have some Dogelon Mars. that is probably one of the most speculative meme coins that I'm in. So this is what it did last cycle. It went from 705 to 501. So we're dropping. So it did like a 15. What is that? Like a 15x? I don't know. I'm trying to do math in my head. I don't really care. It did well. So we're, but the thing is, like, so here's what I'm talking about with rotation. Doggle on Mars. I would not. First of all, I would not rotate all my profits from something into Doggle on Mars. But if you notice the timestamp here, October of 21, Doggle on Mars was a late runner last cycle, like super late. Because most altcoins kicked off on January 1st, 2021. That's when they kicked off. And there were a couple stages where different ones kicked off, but this is a super late runner. So if you had cash and you wanted to stick some into Doggle on Mars, then you could. So this is what I like about multiple cryptos. In the native crypto space, they run kind of at the same time or during the same time frame, but they don't launch at the same time. And as long as you're getting into decent cryptos with good liquidity, you should be okay. But you gotta watch yourself. Jason says, "Are you buying more LTCN today?" I stopped buying Grayscale like last April. My last big tranches were when we were at some really nice heights. I'm below my cost basis now, even when I take into consideration the stuff I bought in the depths of the bear market. So I'm like most people. I'm underwater. I don't care right now because I can zoom out. Let me just zoom out so everybody, like, this is what I care about. Like, let's just take a look at LTCN. I want to zoom out. Like, this is, if you think like this is what I'm looking at right back here. And let me just move myself, get myself out of the way. So this is what I look back at. That's what I care about. And this is where we are right now. And this right here, this little like road rash that we had a year ago, that's what this is. But if you look at your portfolio, like my portfolio is basically in my brokerage account, it's like 99% Grayscale. So believe me, I see this. Like when I log into my portfolio, it's such a massive hit that I've taken. I mean, it's like over 80% down from where it was. It's pretty bad, but that still is nothing in comparison to, because that, we were LTCN April 5th, like 40, let's just call it $44, right? That's way above where we are right now. We're under 7. So we're under 7. This is monumental. Are we going to hit, will we hit below $6 today in LTCN? We might. Because LTC is down. We'll take a look at LTC just a minute. LTC is down and we could lose some premium. We could go further into discount because I think we're in discount territory. But even so, I zoom out and I go, okay, this is the highs that we hit, a year ago, right? $44. That is still a long ways from, where we were averaging. Let's say we were averaging let's just say 250, right? Not because I'm not going to try to time the high. I never try to count on that I'm going to time the high. I'm just going to like, well, it's a good average that the trust was at when things were running well. So that's like a 260, let's just call it. So that's like 6.5x bigger than what we had a year ago. 6.5 times that. And that's not even considering that I think Litecoin this cycle will do better than it does last cycle. We don't know with LTCN though. Like I've said, we've got the looming LTCN conversion to an ETF. We don't know when that's going to happen. And if it happens before the bull run, it will kill the premium play. I've talked about this. So that's the issue we're going to have with LTCN. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is to me it's like a good day, especially like if you're buying it at a discount. It's pretty good. Let's take a look at a Litecoin really quick and just see where we're at. Because yesterday it was dumping, it was down quite a bit. So, okay, so this, I look at this and I go, this is kind of a good sign. And you can see better when you look at the 7-day. You see what happened right here, where we hit a low here around 65 64.48, somewhere in that range, $64, just under $64. And then it started to come back up here. Like that to me, like I'm not a TA guy. I'm not a super expert guy, but I look at that and I go, that looks like it was a bottom, if not the bottom. It could obviously go down from here, right? It could go down from where it is right now, but it seems like a pretty good solid bottom. And that it's likely in the near term, I don't know what near is, but not too long, to get back up to where it was here at 82. Buying it at 68, it's probably going to get back up to this general area pretty soon, and up to here, 135, a little bit after that, and then hopefully way beyond that when we get into the bull run. So things are at discount. If you look at this, like this, we are looking at, I mean, you're getting a really, I look at this and I go, this is it's like a gift to a lot of people, because like in order to get the best prices generally in crypto, you have to DCA in during the bear market. And there are a lot of people that didn't have the opportunity. They didn't know about crypto, about Grayscale. They didn't know about, maybe they didn't have cash, whatever. They didn't get in, right? And so they're, especially if they followed in a year ago, like they weren't getting as good of a return as you otherwise could. But now we're approaching bear market minimums for Litecoin. We're approaching that. So it's like excuse me, I'm going to end this soon here. But it's like one last gift from the crypto gods for a really good price on crypto before the rocket launch, right? And hopefully the rocket launch is soon. We don't know the time between, if you look at distance between highs, we had November or December of 2017. Well, let's just go from the start of the run. We had April 2017 to October of 2020. So we had 3.5 years. About 3.5 years. We've had to wait longer than that, because 3.5 years would have put us, it would have already happened. So we are still waiting for this to happen. Everybody in crypto is waiting for this to happen. Like all crypto investors. Brad says LTC is at 68 and the NAV is 5. Yeah, let's go take a look actually where. Oh, we're probably going to be here for market open. I don't know if the what I'm going to look at will update, but let's bring this up real quick. I'm going to show you the current premiums. This is accurate as of Friday, so it'll update. I don't know how quickly it updates. Maybe they just update it once a day. So as of close of the trading day, Friday, Litecoin or LTCN we were in discount territory. The premium was off, right? So if you were buying Friday afternoon, you were buying Litecoin essentially at a discount. So even if LTCN gets converted to an ETF, you got a good deal because you bought it cheaper than what it will be worth when they convert it to Litecoin, or when they convert it to an ETF. So if you're buying it at a discount now, this is such a gift, honestly, for LTCN buyers right now. If they're buying it, because even if it gets converted to an ETF before the bull run takes off, before we have a premium play, this is you're getting a better deal than even native crypto investors, because you're buying it at a discount. So I see this as being a really good time, and the price of LTCN is going to drop today, right? Because Litecoin is down from where it was at the end of Friday. We could also, because of the fear in the market, we could also see that the discount gets bigger today. So there might even be a bigger discount on this. I don't know how often they update this chart. So I don't think this is real time. It might be. I mean, I'll refresh it. The market opens in 60 seconds here. I don't know that it's going to change. It might. We're going to find out. But that's where we're at. And Bitcoin Cash, BCHG is also at a discount. It's a really good gift. It's like you're getting things at a discount. It's a good time to get in if you got extra cash. I think it is. Not financial advice as always, but I think it's Like whenever you can buy something at a discount, it's a good idea, in my opinion. So Brad says, yeah, I believe they updated it at the end of each trading day. So we'll find out later today. And maybe I'll just do a quick video where I take people through this, where we're at. Because I think we might see the discounts increase, the premiums to even, there isn't a premium, there's a discount on both funds actually right now. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. You guys take care, and don't freak out. You know, things will recover. It all depends on the time. And this is like just to recap, just for the future, and what I'm gonna do, like as I get older, as I approach retirement, well in advance of retirement, is to always have what Dwayne from Retire Early 500K and others have said, like try to have a year's worth of cash in terms of like a year's worth of expenses in cash or some kind of cash equivalent, like bonds or something. So you're not freaked out when the markets take a dump, because you're going to, in your lifetime, depending on how young or old you are, you're probably going to see plenty more of these things. Like these happen every couple of years. It's not like the sky is falling and only falling today, this year. This is going to happen. It's on cycle, so it's going to happen. The only thing that you can hope is that you put more money in when things are down in comparison to when putting them in, putting funds into any investment when they're up. You don't want to buy into crypto when things are pumping. Why would you want to put things into the stock market when things are pumping? And the stock market pumps look a lot different than crypto. They look like what we've had. So it's like, so let me just bring up and this is a good example too, like Nvidia stock. So like this is like that. Okay, so this is like a single stock, Nvidia. Okay, so like if you had bought back here, okay, I think pretty much everybody should recognize that this looks like crypto. Right? This looks like a crypto pump. And Nvidia is not a crypto. Nvidia is a company, all right? It's a plain old stock. So stuff like this is not normal. I remember looking at a video, I actually talked about this. I think it was towards the end of the year. I'm like, I don't know that I want to get into Nvidia, or that I wouldn't get into Nvidia or Nvidia, because it feels like it's due for correction, and it did. But the same thing applies to, the broader market, because you can look at that. The pumps don't look as big, but you still see them. You see them like back here, there's a pump. Like it had to correct. It was slow. It wasn't like a cliff, with the dot-com bubble burst. It was slow, right? Again, 2008 financial crisis. Again, we saw this, right? And we saw the COVID dump, right? We saw that. We saw last year and a half ago, starting beginning of 2022, dump. Like this is not, it's not like a natural rise in the market. Like it's bound to correct. So this shouldn't surprise anybody. This disappoints a lot of people, freaks a lot of people out. But Danny says, hey Ethan, since this crypto cycle is very different, it's possible we could be in a bear market. Will you still let your Grayscale ride till next bull cycle? I do not believe we're in a bear market. I mean, it feels like a bear market. It feels like it hasn't ended. I'm not selling any of my Grayscale until it moons. I'm not gonna, unless we get clear indication that shit is not working. And by that I mean, if I'm still sitting here 1 year from now, in April of 2026, with Grayscale holdings that have not pumped, then I will be like, shit. Okay, but you know what? I'm not gonna do. I won't move them. I'm not gonna move them. I would probably just like buy some of the things that are bound to moon next time. I'd be like, well, whatever, I fucked up and I missed the bull run. Apparently that happened when we got like a 6x. That's not normal, but okay. If that's what it is, I'll just go into things that I was going to go into anyway next bear market, which is like MicroStrategy, DefTF, CYFRF, Bitcoin ETF, stuff like that. But this shit's not going to happen. I look at Bitcoin as being the leading indicator. Bitcoin's not done. And Bitcoin is a huge driver in the market. Bitcoin dominance is still, it's the name of the game right now. It's gonna come back. Bitcoin's gonna come back, and we're gonna see action. I don't think we're in the bear market. It feels like a bear market, but you get the bear. Okay. You could let's say we're in the bear market. We're not in crypto winter. Let me rephrase that, because you could classify, a period of time in crypto or anything as being a bear market if you have several months of it, right? So, but the way I view it, I'm like, we're not in crypto winter because we haven't completed a cycle yet. We're waiting to complete a cycle. We've started the cycle with Bitcoin. We need to finish the cycle with the altcoins, and we haven't started that. There have been a few cryptos like Stellar, like XRP, that had some nice moves, but that's not normal. If that is what the new crypto cycles look like, crypto's not going to be making us very happy. But I don't think that's a crypto cycle. There are some people on YouTube that were saying that was the bull run. That what we had last March and April, that was the bull run. I do not agree with that whatsoever. So I'm not selling shit. I'm buying crypto because it's on sale. I'm buying Cookie DAO because it's on sale. The fucking bleeding is like, I haven't bought Dogalon. I bought it back here. All right, so I got a good price for Dogalon. But I'm buying Cookie because I didn't know about Cookie prior to Caesar talking about it. And Cookie's on sale. Cookie's on sale compared to where it was. This is the Coinbase listing pump, right? That's what happened when it got listed on Coinbase. And now it's way down. So I'm buying Cookie because I think Cookie's a good investment. And I'm buying Stellar because I think Stellar's going to do Stellar. And I think it can do really well. Now, what's crazy to me is when I look at this, I'm like, shit. I'm like, Stellar did a super nice pump. I do not think this is the bull run for Stellar. Some people might. I do not. I think that this right here that happened, where we saw like a 5.5x, was like a little bump out here, right? So what's going to happen with Stellar? I think a lot, like I said, I'll just wrap up with Stellar. A lot of people are thinking that at a minimum, Stellar could probably make it to $2. Probably pretty easily. That's like a 10x from here, right? And 5x, 10x, some people think way more. Like potential of way more, just way more, just way more. I'm gonna, like I said, just to wrap it up here, if Stellar gives me a 10x, I'm the hell out of Stellar. Thank you, Stellar, for the 10x. I'm out, moving on to other things. That's kind of how I move in. My name of the game in native crypto is rotation to the max. So D-Train says, if this bull cycle isn't normal, imagine when alts actually start moving. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up aggression. And I think like the Fed is going to have no choice than to lower rates. There's probably going to be an injection of money into the system, injection of liquidity, which means people are going to be more likely to invest in shit, spend their money one way or another. And that could fuel just a phenomenal crypto bull run. By the way, somebody mentioned on Discord, or it was in the live stream last night, that who were they listening to? Raul Pal. And he's a real good guy to watch too. Very smart dude. He's like a Goldman Sachs guy who turned crypto, man. I really like Raul Pal. And so his, I don't know what channel he posted this on. Sometimes he posts this on his own channel here, which I consider this to be his own channel. But he talks a lot about, the crypto cycles and stuff. And whoever, I think it was somebody on Discord, was saying that Raul was saying that, based on his studies of this crypto cycle, it's looking like the 2017 cycle. It's not looking like this cycle necessarily. And it's looking like 2017. Holy shit. That we want it to look like 2017. 2017 was a lot better bull run for a lot of cryptos in comparison to the 2020, 2021 run. Okay. So if it's lining up, if this cycle is lining up to look like 2017, we are in for a real treat. With the altcoins especially, we're going to be in for a real treat. So, like I said, I've said this, it's probably been a while since I said this, probably since last fall, but I think this is going to be the greatest bull run ever. And maybe the next one that we have next cycle, a couple years from now, will be even better. I'm not sure, but at least in Grayscale, it's like I think Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin will do really well as native cryptos, and I think we know we still have a premium play in place for BCHE that's pretty much locked in. LTCN is in question, like we don't know when an ETF conversion could occur, but even if it does, worst case, I'm like, well, shit. Okay, worst case, let's just say it converts to an ETF before we get a premium play out of LTCN. We're basically at NAV right now. We're slightly below with a discount. We're basically at NAV though. So it's like if Litecoin itself can do a 20x or 30x or whatever it can do, then we still get good returns out of LTCN. I'm fine with that. I'm super happy. Like if I get a 10x on average out of these things, I'm going to be happy because a 10x doesn't come easily in a lot of other things. Fanta says, yeah, 2017 was epic. And it's true. Okay, let me just highlight some of these comments. I keep forgetting I can do this on let me go through some of these. So Brad says Fed is having a closed door meeting today. Yeah, they're probably saying shit. We need to do like an emergency thing and ramp up the money printer, inject liquidity, lower rates. They're going to take action. I know they will. They're gonna be facing huge amounts of pressure. The Fed is not a federal thing. They're not part of the government, right? But the president Trump has the ability, I believe, to replace the Fed chair. So the Fed chair would like to keep his job. The Fed chair doesn't want change. In that respect, I think the president has the right to change the Fed chair. The Fed itself is like a cabal of secret bankers working together to control the money supply. That's a totally different discussion and video, but that is it. Yeah, and this is like D said, yeah, imagine what's going to happen. AJ says Europe says they're ready to negotiate tariffs with the United States. So this is what happens. Like, you know, I see this from like the liberals, progressives. They blame Trump and Trump voters for the downturn, and for whatever reason, I get it, right? But overall, the markets were overextended. It was time for a correction. Tariffs just kicked it off, in my opinion. Okay, they just kicked it off, and so it is what it is. And even if the tariffs get resolved, it's going to happen. Plus, I like the fact that Trump has like balls of steel. Like he's just gonna get it done. And the nice thing about a guy like us, so compare like the negotiation styles, at least the public facing like perception of Biden, right, versus Trump. If China or Europe is trying to negotiate with the United States, who do you want representing the United States of America? I sure as shit don't want Biden. I would much rather have Trump. He's a very smart, very wealthy businessman. He knows how to negotiate. People don't like him. That's okay. You know what? The best people in the world, the best investors, best leaders, the best whatever, people don't fucking like him sometimes, right? That's just the way it is. So I would much rather have him leading the charge. I mean, look what he's doing. He's fucking like, did you see like the video, the drone video where like some Houthi rebels were like gonna fucking plan like, you know, some terrorist shit with the boats, and he just fucking bombed them, and he like tweeted that shit on Truth Social. I mean, that's badass. That's a badass leader. And he doesn't even make a big deal. He's like, this is what we did today. We bombed some fucking terrorists for you. Oh, and by the way, like we're activating the military along the border. We're shipping people off in fucking like, you know, military planes down to fucking Nicaragua and Guatemala and sending them back home. All the people that shouldn't be here, especially the bad actors. So that's who you want. So I think Europe, Asia, South America, whoever we're in tariff wars or talks of tariff wars with, they're gonna fold because we still have. America is an empire in decline, in my opinion. All right, I'm not the only one with this opinion. We are in decline. So while we still are top dog, and we still are, but we're in decline, while we are still top dog, we need to take advantage of that and leverage what we do have. Because if we don't, then we lose it. And we won't be top dog. Probably China will be. And then, it's not good. Not for us, and probably the whole world. You don't want China being the big dog in the whole world, because China, I don't think, is friendly. If you just see what they're doing with Taiwan, I don't think you want China being the top dog in the world. So while we're top dog, while we are the apex predator, amongst all other countries, we need to be the top negotiator. And I think they're going to fold. They're going to buckle. We will get shit done. Things will recover. This is not just affecting the U.S. It's affecting the global economy. This will have an impact everywhere. So we needed a little bit of a correction, a little bit of a reset, not a terrible reset. We could end up with a bigger reset if things don't get fixed. I think this is actually part of a plan, actually, that Trump and his administration has. People have suggested this, like maybe he wants to renegotiate the U.S. debt. That'd be smart to fucking do. Like, it would be smart to crash. If you think about it, if you owe all this money and to other people, like other countries, well, you could take action to fucking dump the markets and basically crash the buying power of not only the US dollar, but like other fiat currencies. And you could just be like, we need to come to the table. We'd like to renegotiate our debt. And then you put the lenders basically in kind of a tough spot. And they wouldn't have any other option, than to probably renegotiate the debt. And that could get us in a better place. Because our debt, man, the interest in the debt and the debt, it's going parabolic. It's going parabolic. I gotta bring this up. Can I find this? Like, let's go to US debt clock. Let's not do that. Well, let's do that. US debt clock. Let me see if I can type. This is super depressing here. Let me just pick up the numbers I'm looking for. Debt per citizen is over 100,000. Debt per taxpayer, see, that's a difference because not everybody pays taxes. Kids don't pay taxes. Seniors probably don't. Illegals don't. Stuff like that. 323,000. That is your share if you were paying taxes. This is your share of the national debt. And the interest paid is just like, it's crazy. We're just paying a ton of interest. And let me show the chart here, US debt chart. And like, you need to watch videos by like, not Mike Maloney, but Rebel Capitalist. Now, US debt chart. He goes through these things. Let's just see if it's picking up the one that I'm looking for. So like this. This is like through 2021. It's gotten worse. I've seen other charts. Like this should concern all of us. This is a parabolic move in the debt. This is when things this is when you need an economic collapse to like recover, because when our debt gets out of hand, this is the problem I have. Like, so many people are living on debt right now, and they're using other people's money. That's what we're as a country doing. Other people's money. Those other people happen to be you and me. We're on the line for this. Our assets, our farmland, our businesses, our everything is on the line. We owe fucking China. We owe Europe. We owe probably the fucking IMF. All these people, we owe them. And we need to renegotiate this shit and get out of this and fix the fucking spending problems so we don't get back here again. Dennis says, what are your thoughts on GameStop copying the MicroStrategy in terms of Bitcoin, putting Bitcoin in the balance sheet? I like it. I think it'll be really good for GameStop. Probably a lot of GameStop investors who have been waiting for another pump, another return to what we had a couple years ago with that nice pump, probably were happy about this. I think AMC should probably do the same thing, because AMC's kind of you got a lot of people invested in AMC that are hoping it pumps. I think a lot of companies should put like Bitcoin on the balance sheet and copy MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy is not pumping. Nobody gives a shit about what MicroStrategy does. Like for their main line of business, nobody gives a shit. They're in software. That's like my company. We're in software. Nobody gives a shit what we do. If we went public, our chart would not look very good. But if we went public, I'm never gonna fucking take my company public. It sounds like such a pain in the ass. I'm not one for rules. I would never put up with that shit. I couldn't do it. But let's say we were. I would follow the Michael Saylor strategy. Look, nobody gives a shit about MicroStrategy. Look back here. There isn't shit here. So let me just hide this comment. There isn't shit happening back here. Okay? Nobody gives a crap about their business model. The only thing that really mattered to anybody why anybody give a crap about them is because they started to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And Michael Saylor started to become a public figure last cycle. And so the eyes were on MicroStrategy and they did really well. Like if the bear market lows, if you could buy them at $15, they pop up to like, let's just say they did like, they popped up, they almost did a 10x, let's just roughly. Okay, very impressive. Normal companies like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft do not pull a 10x. MicroStrategy did. And they've still been around buying more Bitcoin. And so if in the bear market, this is a huge regret of mine. If you bought it for like $30 and it got up to 390, 421, if you're buying for $30, it's a crazy gain. It's a crazy gain, right? Yeah, it's like a 14x. 14x right there, and we have not seen, I don't think, MicroStrategy highs. People think that MicroStrategy could hit $1,000 this cycle. So, and if you were buying it for like $30 a pop back here, that's a 30x. You don't get that in a normal company stock. That's not normal. Also, if you didn't see me talk about this before, one of the things I'm going into next cycle is DefTF. So this is even crazier. If you were buying it at the bear market lows of like 8 cents and it reached, let's just say $3.20, I mean that's like a 40x. That's a 40x. And just like MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and Bitcoin, it led the rest of the alt market. So you could take a profit from DefTF, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and rotate it into Bitcoin miners, Grayscale, or potentially like a Litecoin ETF if we had one. This is why I'm hoping next cycle we have a bunch of ETFs, because you won't have liquidity issues with ETFs. I think we'll also have a number of Grayscale trusts. They could be different than the ones we have right now that will still have premium plays. I still plan to get in on those too. And then the other one that somebody brought up is CYFRF. So this did the same type of thing. If you were buying it at 13 cents, I mean, Jesus. That's like that's an incredible run. But this is also like this right here is also a cautionary tale. Like when things go up, you need to take profit, because if you don't, if you're just a bag holder, you missed out on so many gains. You never know when the top is. And so the best method that I think there is out there, what I'm going to do is like, it's called when you ladder up, you sell off, like if you're happy with your gains right here, you maybe sell off 50% of your shares. You leave the rest to ride because you don't know what's going to happen. And then when you hit here, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to sell 50% of what I have left because I don't know what's going to happen. If you want to have diamond hands and try to hold it all, then, you could, but you could also get burned. This is where... this is from the movie Dumb Money. It's a lot of lessons were in that movie. I've talked about this before, but there were a lot of like this shit right here, going up from like say like $5 for some easy math here, up to 81. That's a crazy increase. But there were a lot of diamond hands people that didn't fucking sell, and then it crashed and they lost out. Now it recovered kind of, and then it's all over. It's been a slow bleed. For GameStop, but you don't be, that's one of the lessons from the movie Dumb Money. Don't be diamond hands. Don't be diamond hands. All right, I'm going to end it here. Anybody else has, and the Fed, Dane says, end the Fed. Austrian economics is the only way to go. I like, so it's like, I think that would be nice to have. If you guys aren't familiar with there's J. Edward Griffin wrote a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is really good. This is like the people who really control the world. They're not the politicians. I mean, the politicians have control, but it's really it's the people with the money, the people that could control everything. And this is like, we're talking about like the IMF, right, or the International Monetary Fund, right, and the WEF, the World Economic Forum, the Federal Reserve, probably hidden organizations that we've never even heard about. That is, that's probably it. So that's that's the way it is. All right, William, I'm gonna put you in timeout. If I see you do this shit again with Turbo, I'm gonna ban you from the channel because you seem like a spammer. And there are a lot of bots that will spam and add comments. Econ on One Lesson is great too from Hazlitt. So I got to check that out. That would be good. Lost hundreds of millions during the spicy surveys of time and directly after the restrictions that were lifted. China probably did. They probably lost. Yeah, it's probably. D-Train says this is a quote from my old pal, people are yet to understand that we have a macro hedge fund manager running the treasury, not an ex-central banker. He deeply understands liquidity. So this would be good too. So I think Trump and his team, I think they've got some aces up their sleeve, and they can't work magic in a week, in a month. It takes a while to get all the pieces together. But Trump right out of the gate, he and his team started just making shit happen on a number of different fronts. Think of all the shit that this country needs to get cleaned up, like with fucking protecting the border, deporting illegals, protecting our international security, fixing our debt, fixing the economy, all this shit. There's all this shit that we have to fix. It's a big cleanup that has to be done. It's important. So anyway, SPY rebounding. So maybe the markets will come back up today. Maybe we won't have a Black Monday. Maybe it'll be a recovery Monday. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna buy into more crypto today. Hopefully you guys have some extra cash to buy into something that you think is on sale. If it looks on sale, well, you might be getting a good deal. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Thanks.